Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Julie Dableman, and I'm here today with Justin Lotano, a financial advisor with Wells Fargo Advisors. And we wanted to talk to you a little bit today about the fact that everybody's been worried about financial problems and things going on and how to best prepare yourself. So we wanted to give you a couple of tips about things you can do to put yourself in as good a place as you can given everything that's going on. So, Justin, can you talk a little bit about what you've been hearing from people?
Sure. Thank you very much, Julie. First and foremost, hopefully anybody who's watching this is staying healthy and safe. And, it's been an interesting last 2 months with the markets. And that's obviously been, the primary focus of a lot of my conversation has been investments and risk and return and things like that. But, one of the things that I have primarily been focusing on with clients, in addition to talking about performance and making changes, has been just being prepared, which is something, you're hearing some pretty horrible stories about, unfortunately people getting symptoms and ending up in the hospital and not really having a chance to sit and talk with their family about their overall financials. And, for some people that can be concerning, and just not having everything organized in a way that it makes it easy for a loved one to figure out what they have, where it is, who to call, things like that. So one of the things I've been taking some time while people are home is just walking through what I created, which is I'm calling it the coronavirus emergency kit, which I created. It's just a short document that really just helps people get everything in one place in case, God forbid something were to happen to somebody, they have it. And this is, a lot of my older clients that this can be a concern for. So it's something I'm working on with clients.
I've noticed that people are often avoiding having these conversations with their loved ones because it feels like if you talk about going to the hospital or you talk about somebody not surviving the illness, that makes it feel real to people and they're avoiding kind of bringing it up to, let's say, elderly parents. So, what I've been telling people to do is having the conversation doesn't make it real or not real. So, it is much worse to pretend like this isn't happening and then have something bad happen. And then in addition to mourning, you're now dealing with finding all the passwords, finding where all the accounts are, dealing with figuring out what they had and what they didn't have. So as uncomfortable as that conversation would be beforehand, it's certainly better than attempting to deal with all of this on your own after somebody's passing. Can you talk a little bit about what kind of stuff is in there that people may want to think about putting together?
Absolutely. So I think the easiest way to keep it simple is when you show somebody a document that's 20 or 30 pages, it can be overwhelming and it'll make people just put it away to the side. So what I created was an editable document that is 5 or 6 pages long. And the main things are like when you talk about net worth, so assets. So I have it broken down by assets. And what I have included in is the name of the account. So the first section is employer sponsored plans. So usually it's 401k or 403b plans, but make sure you include the phone number and a contact. That's the most important information, is where is it and who do I call if something were to happen. So things like your group retirement accounts, if you have other retirement accounts like IRAs, Roth IRAs, simple SEP IRAs, those are important ones to keep track of, and who the advisor and the phone number. And then other financial institutions like bank accounts, checking, savings, CDs. A lot of my older clients have, a bunch of different CDs that they have all over the place just to get higher interest. And it can be complicated. And if something were to happen, people don't know where to start, who to call, how many different accounts there are. So assets, it's, like I said, it's the group plans, the retirement accounts, banking accounts, 529 plans if you have for children. And then I have included in there other assets like your house, your car, boats,
Right.
house, just address, a value. And, on the flip side of the assets is liabilities. People, you still might have student loans, you might have credit cards, you have, mortgages, car loans. It's important to know what exists that's owed so that people, God forbid something happens, you have a list of all the debts. So those are the main assets and liabilities, and that's the financial stuff. But I also included some really important non-financial information, such as estate planning documents. Do you have a will? Do you have a power of attorney? Do you have a healthcare directive? Do you have a trust? If you have them, who's the attorney that wrote them? How can somebody call them? Where are they located? It's all really important information to have to have included in this document. Insurance, a lot of life insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance. Is it group insurance? Is it individual insurance? So again, not trying to overwhelm anybody with the amount of stuff that you need to have, but if you have it in a checklist type of document that's not that long, it's a good thing to have prepared in case, because if it's not COVID-19, it could be a car accident. I don't want to sound all doom and gloom, but things happen. So it's important to have things lined up.
And it's probably important also to review these documents. Once you've had these conversations, you can kind of lay the groundwork. Let's sit down and review these every couple of years to make sure everything is up to date and current. And the other thing is to list the resources, right? Like, let's say you would be a resource for your clients. So that would be an important for a family member to know that if something were to happen to their loved one, they can call you and you might know a lot of this information, or their attorney or their accountant. So some of these key financial people who are involved in people's lives that otherwise you might not know about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one thing for my clients, I focus on comprehensive financial planning. So I was able to put a lot of this stuff together and get it really started for them with obviously my information, because I kind of know. And what I'm doing is I'm encouraging them to give it a copy to me completely filled out, and just let your next person know that I have it. And let me just send them an email saying, hey, I'm Justin. I work with your father, your mother, whoever it is. I just want to let you know I'm filling this out for them. And I send them a blank copy and encourage them to fill it out too. And in financial planning, it is important to keep updating this information. So like I said, a lot of the assets and liability things I have and the insurance, but a lot of people's brokers just kind of focus on what and kind of leave out a lot of the other stuff. So, things, and I have listed in this document the list of other professionals that you're working with. So like your CPA, your estate attorney, if you have like an insurance advisor. And I also have things like emergency contacts. So like even your doctor, your specialist, your closest relative that's not living with you. I even went as far to include things like if you have funeral arrangements, cemetery, burial plots, you have a safety deposit box, you have cryptocurrency accounts, because those are all just done with apps. So if somebody passes away and has a Coinbase or a cryptocurrency account, if you don't have that username and password, that money's gone. So I think it's a comprehensive list. I include things like making sure you have an inventory of antiques or collectibles, jewelry. You just want to, it's 5 pages. So it sounds like a lot of information, but when you look at it and it's editable, it makes it a little bit easier to take on instead of looking at something that's really overwhelming.
And even if it's a very comprehensive document, it's still much easier than having to find all this information afterwards. So the more prepared that anybody can be, the better off they will be. Right? So thank you for watching today. We're hoping that this was useful information. If you have any other questions for either Justin or myself, please reach out to us and we'll be glad to offer any other help that we can. Please stay healthy.
Thanks.